Amidst FaZe Clan's ongoing financial turmoil and public infighting, one of the org's most OG members has leaked what is allegedly Nickmercs' salary. And the number is wild. Now, before I get too deep into the news today, I want to let you guys know about the brand new episode of our brand new show, Into the Dark, presented by Kraken Rum. This show is my baby. I'm stoked that you guys like it so much, and this episode is about Nadeshot. It's about the risk he took to jumpstart his career and make it one of the most iconic in the history of esports. Click the link in the description below to check it out. Now, unless you live under a rock, you probably know that FaZe Clan has been having a pretty tough time over the last year or so. They took their company public, listed it on the NASDAQ, celebrated with a bunch of celebrities as only they can, and then their stock price quickly plummeted. This more or less caused industry-wide panic. OG members of FaZe started publicly feuding with the company's corporate brass, and even esports' most decorated veterans started asking themselves, how the can we make any money in this industry?
Their lack of success on the market is a terrible thing for the esports industry as a whole, man. Like, people look at that, outside investors or people that want to be a part of gaming and they want to invest in it, they won't touch it with a 100-foot pole.
Now, one of those OG members of the org, who has been publicly feuding with the suit-wearing accountant-type people that they hired to run the company, is FaZe Rain. Suffice it to say, this guy has been on a warpath lately. The guy has been airing FaZe's dirty laundry wherever he can, whether that's discussing business decisions that they made that he doesn't agree with, or just flat out leaking the amount of money they're losing on each of their esports properties. And that hasn't stopped. In fact, recently, he's even upped the ante by claiming on his Instagram story that FaZe Clan has been paying Nickmercs $1 million a year since 2018. And to be clear, that's just from FaZe. That doesn't include subs, donations, or any brand deals he might have on his own. Rain then went on to claim that the reason they signed Nick in the first place was to do damage control for the very public contract dispute they were embroiled in with streamer Tfue that year in 2018. Rain then went on a podcast where he further discussed Nickmercs' deal and FaZe's struggles.
That's even like why I argued the Nickmercs thing in the beginning. I have nothing against him, but it's just Nickmercs. He's just somebody we have signed. Like, he was like a FaZe guy.
Oh, because FaZe is signing a bunch of fucking people now.
No, we've had him, but he's like the only one that gets paid a lot. And like, I was exposing the numbers. He gets like $1 million a year. Nobody else gets paid anything because he's really big. He does his own thing. Like, he does really well, and he's like a business guy. So that's why, because he knows what he's doing, right?
Now, I think there's a lot to unpack here. FaZe is his baby, and he wants it to stay authentic and cool. And he's frustrated watching the company's corporate overlords run it into the ground with sponsorships and partnerships and brand deals that he doesn't agree with, all while paying Nickmercs millions of dollars when he isn't even an OG member of FaZe. He's not even necessarily a name that springs to mind when you think FaZe Clan. With all that in mind, even Rain admits that none of this is Nick's fault. The guy is just getting paid. I'd be willing to bet that Nick does more viewership than basically anything else that FaZe sponsors. So maybe that $1 million price tag isn't really all that much. And so for Rain to suggest that he can't really remember one big moment involving FaZe and Nickmercs might be a little bit of a disservice to the size of this guy, which is the part of the statement that Nick himself addressed on his stream.
I'll say this, I'm so proud of us. I'm so proud of this community. I'm so proud of my team. I'm so proud of my fucking damn self, man. I work my fucking ass off. People can say what they want to say, man, but I've been up on top of the game for fucking years, man. I've been up here, and we put in work, bro. We do shit that nobody else does. We do it in ways that nobody else does, and we've been doing this shit for a long time, and I'm proud of that, bro.
One thing I will say, though, in defense of Rain's position here, is he is right. Moments do matter. You can do as many views as you want to, but if you can't create a real connection between FaZe Clan and your audience, is it really worth all that money? Moving on from the specific situation with Nickmercs and Rain, this whole situation bringing FaZe back into the news cycle has got the content machine running. People are out here with to say. On the one hand, you've got guys who are reasoned and measured and, want to share their opinion on the state of the industry, like Nadeshot.
I think FaZe is going to be okay long term. I mean, I hate to see like the original creators have such a sour taste in their mouth. because it's really hard for these kids that grew up building this thing, and then, you know, they take on capital, they raise money. Now there's more people at the table that they don't think belong there. And if, you know, Tico and Rain aren't the guys that are actually vetting who's coming in and investing in the business and who's running it day to day, you know, that's a tougher situation for them to be in.
And then on the other hand, you've got some more radical takes, like G2 Esports ex-owner Carlos, who says he could turn FaZe into a billion-dollar business.
I could create a team from zero. I could buy FaZe Clan tomorrow for 50 million, and I could make that $1 billion company in 2 years without a glimpse of that.
Ultimately, I think the question on everybody's minds, mine particularly, is this. Will FaZe Clan, perhaps the most well-known esports org in the Western world, be sold soon? And if that's the case, then how on earth can other companies expect to break through that threshold? I want to hear from you guys on this one. I'm going to be down in the comments. If you had controlling interest, if you could do whatever you want with one of these esports orgs, what would you do to make sure they could turn a profit?
Thanks for watching. If you want more content like this, hit the sub button and ring the notification bell. For unique bite-sized videos you won't find anywhere else, hit us up on our Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok.